I'm joined now by Democratic member of Congress, Representative Hakeem Jeffries in New York, who serves on the House Judiciary Committee. What does that mean, cleaning up corruption? How do you do it?
Well, I think we've got to make sure that we can get big money out of politics. In the aftermath of the terrible Citizens United decision, what we've seen is dark money flow into Washington, D.C., fueled by lobbyists and mega corporations who are buying off influence and essentially shaping legislation that this Congress has been pushing forward. The biggest example of it was the corrupt GOP tax scam, where 83% of the benefits went to the wealthiest 1%. This was not done for the people. That's who we stand for as Democrats. It was done for the lobbyists, for the mega corporations, for the wealthy, the well-off, the millionaires, the billionaires, to subsidize the lifestyles of the rich and shameless. This is corruption happening in plain sight.
But that's okay. But that is, I would not disagree that's corrupt. But that's everyday corruption, okay? That's a system that is shot through with corruption. And I don't want to minimize that because I think the entire system. But we're talking about very specific corruption, which is this president has a whole host of distinctly corrupt relationships to his business and things like that, that my question is, what could Democrats do if they got the majority?
Well, you're correct. They are lying, they are cheating, they are stealing, and they are doing it with impunity. And the reason is that this Congress has refused to do its constitutional oversight responsibilities. We are an independent branch of government, a separate and co-equal branch of government. The House of Representatives doesn't work for Donald Trump. We work for the American people. But these guys on the other side of the aisle apparently have not gotten the memo. And so basically they're acting as co-conspirators, refusing to do oversight, refusing to subpoena documents, refusing to expose these corrupt scandals to the American people, and doing their constitutional duty. Democrats will do that.
So every day I think to myself, well, there should be a hearing on that. One example, this insane story about the three Mar-a-Lago members, a Baltimore lawyer, a Palm Beach doctor, and the guy who runs Marvel Entertainment, who are basically running the VA. Like, should there be hearings on that?
Absolutely. And, you know, the Oversight and Government Reform Committee basically, for years, wasted millions of dollars on Hillary Clinton's emails, which was a fake scandal designed to undermine her presidency, but refuses to do anything as it relates to, you know, sort of the corrupt after corrupt after corrupt instance that has arisen as it relates to Trump's cabinet secretaries. It's shameful. And you're not going to get them to act like a constitutional check and balance, as Devin Nunes disclosed to his donors.
Yeah, no, he's very clear in that tape about what he views his role as. I want to play one more bit of tape because he's there with Kathy McMorris-Rodgers, number 4 in House leadership. Before you guys went on recess, they filed articles of impeachment against Rod Rosenstein, and Paul Ryan said this is not going anywhere. Devin Nunes has a different take on this. There's a little like bait and switch maybe. I want you to take a listen and respond. Listen to what he had to say.
But also, on the things that came up in the House on Rosenstein impeachment things, and it appears from an outsider that the Republicans were not.
Yeah, well, it's a bit complicated, right? And I say that because you have to. So we only have so many months left, right? So if we actually vote to impeach. Okay. What that does, that triggers the Senate then has to take it up. Well, then you have to decide what you want right now because the Senate only has so much time. You want them to drop everything and not confirm the Supreme Court justice, the new Supreme Court justice. So that's part of why I don't think you're not getting from, like I've said publicly, Rosenstein deserves to be impeached. I mean, so I don't think you're going to get any argument from most of our colleagues. The question is the timing of it right before the election.
That's the Senate, so the Senate has to start.
The Senate would have to start. The Senate would have to drop everything they're doing and start with impeachment of Rosenstein, and then you take the risk of not getting Kavanaugh convicted. So it's not a matter of the name of like Rosenstein. It's a matter of timing.
It's a matter of timing. That sounds an awful like what he is saying and what the number 4 Republican in the House is saying is they all support impeaching Rosenstein. They're just not going to do it now.
Absolutely. It's very cynical, but he exposed essentially what appears to be the GOP plot, which is to go after Rod Rosenstein, but to allow the Senate to jam this Supreme Court justice down the throats of the American people, do that work, and then return after the midterm elections to try to jam up Rod Rosenstein. Most people can probably remember that the Clinton impeachment actually took place in the aftermath of a midterm election during what was essentially a lame duck session. It appears that they want to go out and do the same thing.
You know, I had forgotten that, but in those 1998 midterms, breaking with history, there had been a sort of stunning rebuke to the Republicans who had actually lost seats in Congress, and they continued in that lame duck session with impeachment. Do you really think that's what they would do?
It wouldn't shock me because nothing would shock me at this particular point in time.
So you think it would not shock you if they lose the House and they're like, well, we got a few months left, let's impeach Rosenstein?
Of course, because this is what they do. In other words,
I mean, that's what sounds like what Nunes is proposing.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, listen, the so-called chairman of the Intelligence Committee is a complete embarrassment, but what's worse is that you have the number 4 person in the House Republican Conference apparently signing off on this, and we can't necessarily believe what the leadership is saying when we know what Donald Trump wants to do is get rid of Rod Rosenstein because he wants to get rid of this investigation into the Trump campaign's collusion with Russian spies. Final
question. Nunes is a special case in terms of the extraordinary lengths he's gone to.
Very special.
But is it your sense from being on the Judiciary Committee and your colleagues that that's basically actually the way that most of your Republican colleagues feel about this?
Well, a significant number of House Republicans are part of what I refer to as the cover-up caucus. Their sole objective in life, in terms of their current membership, is to deny the fact that we have a criminal conspiracy that appears to have taken place to sell out our democracy, to artificially place Donald Trump in the Oval Office. An ongoing serious investigation. They want to turn a blind eye to that and distract the American people, in part by doing things like going after Rod Rosenstein.
It's funny, you know, they're spending a lot of time doing that. They're not spending a ton of time legislating, which is also notable. I mean, since they passed the tax bill, it's like, okay.
Totally, and we want to lower prescription drug prices, we want to raise pay, and we want to clean up corruption in Washington, D.C.
All right, you got that in there. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, thank you for your time.